Yo, what up? We're live, baby. We're going live right now. We are live right now. Monday Night Raw, baby. We got Paulie Malignaggi coming on because we got to talk about it. Quentin Henry's on deck, but my man Paulie's here, so we got to catch up. We got BYB. We got to talk boxing, celebrity boxing, too. I wanted to give a little quick chat about that and whatever else my man Paulie wants to talk about. So let's get the show on the road. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Paulie.
Yo, what's going on, Joe?
What up? What up? Where you cruising, bro? What's going on in that car?
What's the good word? I'm driving to Fort Lauderdale. I was up by the Tampa area in Plain City at that Pro Box TV gig I do. Record weekly shows. You know, that's with the Hall of Fame level team. I work with Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver and Juan Manuel Marquez. So we were all recording shows today.
Unbelievable, man.
You know, weekly boxing content. You know how they like these days. You know how it's the modern thing to do. You know, you record content and then you put it up on these apps and everybody loves it. Or you sometimes even put it up on YouTube. I don't invent the game. I just play along. You know what I mean?
And you're doing a great job, man, of playing along because that Pro Box TV. I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to get into it, but. Dude, unbelievable show. For people that are watching, you got to go on YouTube, check out Pro Box TV. Like Paulie said, Paulie, Antonio, Juan Manuel. I saw Claudia was also hosted the show.
Roy Jones Jr.
Roy Jones Jr. I mean, the best of the best. Talking about boxing, man. So you guys, are you discussing all current events in boxing?
Yeah. We discuss the ins and outs, the previous week's fights, the upcoming fights. We're basically like all things boxing, you know, like the sports center of boxing, so to speak. Only it's discussion. It's audio, it's video, and it's you get our thoughts, we break it down for you, and people that tend to like to listen to guys who did this before. You know, I would have thought.
Yeah, I know, right? The experts. You know, not the people sitting on the couch eating fucking Cheetos.
Well, I do that too, but you know, we won't talk about that.
Hey, listen. So I'm now these episodes on YouTube, are they pre-recorded? Do you do some live segments as well? Oh, I'm losing you, Paulie. We were perfect before the show started.
Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good now. Yeah.
You know what it is? I'm going through a. I don't know. Yo.
There we go.
Where are we? We back.
Now we're back.
I'm going through a bit of a block area, you know, over here. So I don't know how these phones react to this kind of thing, you know. We're back. Are we good? Service is working.
We're good, bro. Service is working.
All right.
We got your face there, so we're good to go.
So to answer your question, right now we just started, so we're only a few episodes in. So I think eventually the plan might be to go live and get some guests on and do all that cool stuff. But for right now, we're doing some pre-recorded stuff. You know, sort of similar to what I do with Paulie TV. Only Paulie TV is just my personal stuff. But Pro Box is sort of in the same manner. But you know, we have a team, we have a panel, you know, and it's quite, like I said, like we were just talking about, it's quite a high level panel, you know, with Claudia Trejos. Usually she hosts the Spanish language with myself and Juan Manuel Marquez, and then the English language is Mike Goldberg, who a lot of your fans might know from MMA fame. He hosts the English speaking broadcast, and it's got myself. So I'm on both broadcasts because I speak both languages, but we've got a lot. We've got a little bit for everybody, you know.
Yeah, I see it, man. I mean, that's star-studded cast. We've seen Tarver, yourself, Roy Jones, all call fights, former boxers. Juan Manuel Marquez, of course, and now Mike Goldberg as well. That's really cool to see that too, man. And then you guys, I think, recently just went over 20,000 subscribers already on YouTube.
Yeah, the thing's moving fast. I'll tell you, it's moving fast. It took me like 4 months to get to 25,000 subscribers on Paulie TV, but Pro Box, I think within less than a month, it's already at 20,000. But I think it's also the strength of the panel. You know, the people like to, you know, with Paulie TV, it's just me talking. You know, it's just my thoughts, which a lot of people enjoy. But when you've got a panel of all opinions that people really want to hear, I think people gravitate to it a little bit more, especially the aficionados of boxing, the real passionate fans. They love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen. Recently you guys were talking about Triple G and Canelo.
Yeah,
That fight
yeah,
right there.
all the new news, like they just announced the third fight with Triple G and Canelo. So we had a big discussion on that. But all things new, all the news that really makes the headlines, we try to stick to it.
And now you guys are going to be doing, is it like a once a week thing, or is it going to be a couple days a
Yeah,
week?
yeah. We're doing weekly. Like I said, I'm in Plain City every week, Sunday to Tuesday, usually to record these episodes. Today we did the English and Spanish in one day. Usually we don't, but Marquez is flying to Mexico today, so he's probably on the plane right now, actually. So we had to do the Spanish language one today. Ironically, he's actually flying to upstate New York this weekend because he and Roy Jones are going to be getting inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And we're trying to do our next episode from there with the guys all just going up to the International Boxing Hall of Fame this weekend, since it's induction weekend. It's a big gala, They have a lot of fans go up to the Hall of Fame, a lot of ex-fighters, both Hall of Famers and non-Hall of Famers, and it's just it's kind of a cool little weekend. They do some cool stuff. So we were thinking possibly the producer was thinking to possibly just have us do an episode up there if we can set it up. So we'll see. I think people would enjoy that. We might have a panel of fans and do a live show. We'll see.
Dude, that'd be cool. If I could call in, let me know, bro. I'll be.
Yeah.
I'll call
you
the
gotta
boys,
call in. You gotta call in as one of your Instagram characters, though. Yeah.
I'm like, from the bathroom live.
Oh yeah. No. You gotta be the geek, the guy, the off the boat guy.
Yeah. With the big shank. Out here.
Yeah.
What's the matter? I don't know.
I like the way we call it this technology,
In Italy, we don't have this. This is not good.
It's Italy. The I is an E in Italian. Italy.
Italy. That's what I got.
In Italy, we don't do this.
Say, I gotta get lessons from you, bro. We're gonna do a skit.
Yeah, I got all my whole family's off the boat, so it's easy for me to just pick one of them and copy them.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I've just picked people off the street now. That's it. So you got the Paulie TV, because I know we talked for a while. You're like, I'm not too good with technology. So you got somebody doing the Paulie TV Instagram for you?
Yeah, bro. I can barely turn on my phone by myself. Are you kidding me? I'm horrible with this, bro. I still use DVD players, and I need somebody to connect the DVD player for me because I don't even know how to do that. So I'm brutal. So yeah, I got guys that set it all up. The only thing they need me to do, sometimes I'll do the selfie cam and just record my thoughts on a fight, and then we'll post it to my page. Otherwise, the Paulie TV studio, usually we go to Vegas because my team of Paulie TV is on the West Coast, and we'll record the episodes out of Vegas. So I'll do the occasional studio shot in Vegas or LA. Last ones we did in the studio Los Angeles. Otherwise, I'll just do a selfie cam and go over the recent fights or the upcoming fights or whatnot. With ProBox, though, we have a studio, and like I said, we have a panel, so I just got to be there every week. But it's pretty cool, man. Honestly, you would have told me years ago I'd be doing this for a living. I mean, besides the fact that I had a professional combat sports career, I mean, I wouldn't have took it seriously. I didn't think I would have had the discipline to do any of this stuff. But it really is kind of rewarding, because it doesn't really feel like work. Sure, yeah, being on the road sometimes gets heavy, but bro, there's people that lift cement for a living. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that work day and night for a living. So I feel very blessed and very fortunate to be able to do this kind of stuff.
No, Paulie, I'm happy as not only as a friend of yours but as a fan of yours. I'm happy that you're doing this because your opinion really matters in the world of boxing. People like your opinion. You're a polarizing figure. People like what you have to say. You speak your mind. You're not afraid to sugarcoat any. You don't sugarcoat anything. So, and that's really what we need more, especially now in the cancel culture. We need more.
Yeah. They tried to cancel me a couple of times, but I'm like a cat. I always land on my feet somehow. So I'm very unapologetic, and I feel like that gets me more respect because every time they think they cancel me and I landed on my feet and I do better than I was doing before, I think people are more respectful because I don't think most people have the balls to stand up to cancel culture. They usually fold and they usually just get on their knees and apologize, and all that does is make them more public enemy because now people they have them where they want them, But I think people have really taken a liking to the fact that at least people that think like us have taken a liking to the fact that I don't bend, I don't fold. to the pressures of cancel culture. And then somehow I keep landing on my feet when I do it. I sort of get rewarded. I push back, and things just wind up popping and going my way, you know? And it's not like I purposely have tried to offend people. I feel like I'm pretty easy to get along with, as long as, you know, I can deal with honest opinions, just like, you know, I feel like people should be able to deal with my honest opinions and assessments. I don't just pull them out of my ass. There's always a reason, and I'm always willing to explain myself of why I feel certain ways. But nonetheless, we live in a very soft society, and cancel culture is very prevalent. But I do think that the reason that I keep landing on my feet somehow, people have taken more and more of a respect factor for what I do, and they become more fans, you know. And I think that's why the pages are growing so fast, and people really they always enjoyed my opinions and my thoughts on breaking down fights and whatnot. But now I think there's a different kind of respect. Yeah, sure, you get your trolls and whatnot. That's always normal, but pretty much it's pretty cool to be able to interact with cool fans that are just as passionate about these things as I am.
Yeah, and you know, what I like, Paulie, is the fact that, you know, people, like you said earlier, you know, people that they might be afraid to speak up, they're afraid to get canceled, you know, but then there's people like you that are probably saying exactly what they're thinking, but they don't want to say it because they're afraid they're going to get canceled. So I'm all for it, man.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
No, I was gonna. What I was gonna say was, like, you know, like I would like to, you know, I'm still trying to build a following and grow, you know, so I don't want to kind of shoot myself in the foot right out the gate. But I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd like to get off my chest too that I see, and I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
I mean, we'll talk privately about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
I think for the most part, I think, you know, most people are, you know, they feel like a lot of the things that happen today are kind of weird, and they don't really agree with a lot of them. And you know what? Whether you agree or not, I think you should be able to say whether you agree or not. It's, you know, we live in a, you know, in a bit of a time where disagreeing with the flow of society, no matter how despicable that might be, it's like you risk getting yourself canceled, you know. So it's a risky thing, you know. People have mouths to feed, lives to live, and whatnot. So I can understand it. You know, they put people in bad positions.
Yeah, but you know, bro, you know, while I got you here, man, you know, and even Joe Rogan said it. You know, he said you're one of the best in the world at calling a fight. And every time I listen to you call a fight, you just break it down so quickly. Like, you know, some people in the chat too, like my buddy Ryan Perez said it too. You're one of the best in the fight game, breaking down a fight, and you do it during the play-by-play. You know, on the fly, man. You know, I'm sure it just comes natural to you. But, you know, for anybody that's out there that's aspiring to do what you're doing, you know, what advice would you give these people that may be struggling, or they're just like, damn, you know, Malignaggi's so good. You know, how does he do it? Like,
well, you definitely don't start unless you take the first step, right? I mean, so doubts have to be eliminated. Also, you have to be very confident in what you're saying. I think that goes a long way, actually. You know, I'm blessed with the fact that I can kind of catch a lot of things, but I did this for a living, so I feel like I can catch more than a lot of people. But I also have a speaking ability. Unfortunately for me, I have a speaking ability that maybe many fighters don't have. So I have the combination of having done this for a living and also have the speaking ability to linguistically, you know, kind of give it out there and put it out there in layman's terms. I have that ability, and I'm fortunate enough to have that. But regardless of what it is, of your level of understanding or not, you have to first take the first step. Number one, I mean, that's key. Number two, you can't be scared to be controversial, because realistically speaking, controversy a lot of times is honestly what gets you more views anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't purposely try to go out there and be controversial, but certainly when you call it the way you see it, sometimes you're going to wind up being of the opinion that the grain that goes against the grain, and sometimes you're not. I notice it very much. You know, like the times I'm going with the grain, people love it. The times I'm going against the grain, people hate it. But at this point, I've created a reputation for myself where people want to hear it no matter what, and then they want to give their opinion. And so you know, when I'm going against the grain, there's a lot of negative opinion, but there's a lot of traction. But no matter what, the important thing is not so much to be liked; it is so much that people want to hear you. Be of the personality. Be of the have that aura around you where people just can't go without listening to you. You know, I know there's people that listen to me that like me, and I know there's people that listen to me that don't like me, and but they're both tuning in for one reason or another. You know, there's guys that just can't stand me, and you know, you can see from some of the comments that come out, and they just want to hear me just so they can have more reason to dislike me. You know what I'm saying? And even if I may say something that they may, you hear me? Am I breaking up again?
No, you're all right.
Am I breaking up again, Joe? I'm good. Yes, and those people that dislike me, it's funny because at times I may say things that they might actually agree with, but because they dislike me so much, they'll find a way to use that against me as well. And then there's people that like me so much that, you know, even if I disagree with them, they'll still love me there too. You know, so it's hot and cold, but nonetheless, you have to become you have to make yourself a personality. I'll tell you what, I won't name names, but there's people on TV that do what I do that I don't think are that good at what they do. There's people that have been on TV in the past and people that are on TV now that I don't think they're that good at what they do, but they have personalities behind them. Now, sometimes you can get the personality and the knowledge at the same time, and that's really excellent. You know, I feel like I'm blessed enough to have both of those things, you know, the charisma and the knowledge of what I'm saying. But there's some people that, you know, many times they don't, I don't really agree with anything they're saying. And sometimes I wonder what the hell they're saying, you know, but I can see the charisma behind what they say. They have a personality, and that's very important too, to have that personality behind you when you're on TV. And I see people reacting positively towards them. So it's not always being the most knowledgeable. It's also sometimes it's knowing how to sell yourself well, how to sell your brand, how to sell your image very well. And that can go just as far, because you got to understand a lot of fans are not that knowledgeable to the way they can dissect everything you're saying is right and wrong.
They can't even make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some of these people.
Yeah. And that's why I think I try to kind of dissect. I try to, any opinion I have, I always give you a reason of why I feel a certain way, or why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. It's not that I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
Logical reason, you know, not just
or even, and any opinion. Also, even in the fight, right? If I see something, I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm seeing it. Not only am I seeing it, but I got to be able to explain to you why I'm seeing it, so you can actually look for the same thing. Because if I'm saying, okay, he's dropping his left hand, for example, he's dropping his lead hand. Okay, that's obvious to everybody. Okay, that's obvious to everybody. But if I start to tell you, based on his ability, what can happen if he's dropping his left hand? Based on the distance he's at, what can happen if he's dropping his left hand? Based on his opponent's ability and what his opponent is doing, what can happen if he's dropping his left hand? Both positive and negative. I'm breaking down all those possibilities. Now I'm not just telling you he's dropping his left hand, which was something that we can all see. That's obvious. Now you're actually looking at it from a little bit of a more in-depth perspective of all the possibilities to look for because of this situation, and you might see some of them, you know, and they're based on what's happening in the ring. It's not just based on any random guy dropping his left hand. It's based on this particular situation of a guy dropping his left hand in this particular fight. You understand me? So yeah. Having that in-depth ability, sure, that helps me a lot. And also, I have personality, so that helps me a lot. But in general, you know, if I got to be honest with you, being on TV and being a video, being on YouTube, having your own channel, whatnot, a lot of times having a personality is more important than actually having knowledge. It really is. Today it goes pretty far.
You see, like with the Island Boys, I don't know what those things are, but
the Island Boys, don't know where they're coming and going, but they got a ton of views, you know. And that's just one example of several. Maybe not as high level as the Island Boys, but there's certainly people that use that ability. Dude, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think Larry Merchant was that good on HBO. I didn't think he ever said anything that made any sense. I didn't think he technically broke down anything that I ever agreed with. But he was a personality, bro. He was funny, bro. Honestly, like
you know, I was 50 years younger, I'd kick your ass.
That's the most obvious one, right? But I'm telling you, I remember being a teenager, and he would aggravate me, like the things he would say, the questions he'd ask. And then as I got older, I'm like, bro, this guy's funny. Like, you know what? This guy, he started arguing with George Foreman live on the air while they're calling a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy's like, there's something about him that you can't help but watch him. Now, I didn't think he was knowledgeable, but lo and behold, he was such a personality that you get people today that literally, when they talk about the good old days of boxing, they talk about Larry Merchant's knowledge, not his personality, his knowledge. when the guy had no knowledge of boxing. You know what I'm saying? But so like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your ability to sell yourself is very important, both as a personality, as having charisma. I mean, Larry was a very charismatic person on TV. There was a charm to Larry, honestly, because you know, he'd fight you too. You know what I mean? If he like you, there's a video on YouTube if you see it where somebody interrupts his in the ring, his inside the ring interview, post fight interview, and Larry chokes him out. Like he chokes him, grabs him by the throat and pushes him out of the interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was an endearing thing to Larry. Larry was tough, bro. He wasn't just a guy. There was a personality. It was an entire character, a personality based around him.
Did he ever drink on the job? Because that was me and my buddies would always laugh about that. Like,
honestly, I'm too young to know, because by the time I started in the TV business, Larry was already out, but he was just already a legendary figure that was retired. But so I don't know, bro. I guess I'd have to ask some of the guys. You know what? I'll try to ask Roy, because I work with Roy a lot now, and Roy has worked with Larry. So I'll try to ask Roy next time, and I'll tell you when I see him in person. I'm
curious, because me and my buddies, we've been watching. Like, is Larry drunk right now? Like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? But I always liked him. I always liked Larry.
I mean, bro, people think I'm on cocaine. Most of the time, I just drink espresso before I go on the air from my podcast and but lo and behold, there's always comments when I'm taking cocaine. Yeah, I do a couple of bumps before I hit the camera and then start shooting guys. I mean, come on, really? It's like, but I do drink a lot of espresso as an Italian, as any good Italian would.
That's right, bro. I got Bustelo in my cabinet, but I'll tell you, you know, me and you've gone out. You know, my man Paulie, glass of wine, that's it. Done. My man Paulie don't get crazy.
Nah, man. Maybe a cigar here and there too.
Listen, yeah, we're due for one too. When you
we are.
To Del Rey, we gotta go smoke in. We gotta have
we are. Absolutely.
Little red wine, a little cigar.
Yeah,
so, bro, I think that BYB did a fantastic job picking you up, man. I think like they between you and Goldberg, they literally, no pun intended, struck gold, because you guys are just killing it on the play-by-play, man. Making the fights fights are great, but just bringing that commentary, making it even more interesting. How was your experience been working with BYB?
Yeah, it's been a terrific experience. Mike Vasquez, the president of BYB, is awesome. Like, he's a man of his word. He does what he says and says what he does. Then having Dada 5000 as the sort of the face of the company, and it's his idea. This is his brainchild. You know what I mean? This was his backyard idea back when he used to hold the fights in the backyard, sort of the quote unquote backyard in the triangle between the ropes of the triangle. And so now we have the Trigon as a legitimate fighting surface there's an unofficial promotion. Vasquez got behind Dada 5000's idea. So I think Dada is sort of a fan favorite, man. I mean, people love him. He's a personality himself. He's like the guy's like a cartoon character with that hairstyle. He's like the modern day Mr. T. You know what I mean? But he's got his own brand of charisma and swag, and great to be around. You know, and I think he's great to have representing the brand as well. And then of course the commentating team. I think Mike has really invested well into a solid team, because yes, BKFC has had the more talent. They got it both to a bigger start, and a lot of it is thanks to me. I don't know if I'm still the highest rated pay-per-view they ever had, or if what's her name, when they had, what was her name, the girl Paige. If Paige might have broke my record, I'm not even sure who's got the highest selling BKFC pay-per-view at this point. But nonetheless, BKFC is obviously started first. They were obviously a little more advanced now at BYB. But nonetheless, Mike invested in some fighters, but he invested into a great team, a great commentating team. I mean, I'll be honest, BKFC's commentating team, they couldn't even realize that I was fighting with one hand, but I fought 70% of the fight with one hand. I broke my right hand early in the fight. You got a commentating team. You got to be able to break down what the average fan may not see, what the average fan is not able to understand, and maybe make them able to understand it in layman's terms about this hand-to-hand combat situation. I think we've got a great team. Goldberg is to me the best play-by-play guy in the business. No matter what sport you put him in, Goldberg knows how to do it best. We got Benny Ricardo, who I think is an awesome personality. Benny is so funny, and meeting him in person. He doesn't, bro. He doesn't get the do, bro. I'm telling you, Benny could do stand up, bro. I think Benny has done stand up. He's a walking one-liner machine. You know what I'm saying?
He's like Rodney, bro.
Yeah. Claudia Trejos, she's great. Her resume speaks for itself. She's been around for decades, and she's both easy on the eyes, even at her age, and she's very, very knowledgeable on how to do things. And of course, you got myself. I've now got over a decade's worth of commentating experience, combat experience, and so I think we've been doing a great job, and I think and the fights are getting better and better. We're signing better and better talent, and slowly but surely the company's growing. And I really love being able to be with a company from the beginning. I did this also with Boxer over in the UK when they were just an idea, small idea, BOXXER, and now they've got a Sky Sports contract. And I was with Boxer back when they first started. So it's so cool to be part of a brand when they're first starting out, and they grow so much that. And you can feel like you were a part of that growth, and you saw the early beginnings, the humble beginnings, and when they grow into something big. And I'm really confident that both BYB can get to that level, and also ProBox TV can get to that level. And hopefully even my Paulie TV channel can get to that level. But slowly but surely, you win the race.
Got that right, Paulie. Before I let you go, I'm going to bring up 3 names, random names, and you just tell me what's on your mind about each name that I bring up. All right? First one. I'll just be 2. The Paul brothers.
The Paul brothers, very smart, very smart. Listen, they know how to maximize their brand in a way where they're not really bullshitting you. You know what? They know how to sell themselves. They're not selling you something that's not. They're not trying to call out the bigger names. Even Jake, he says he'll fight Canelo in a few years. It's probably unrealistic, but nonetheless, they're not calling out big name fighters. They're not trying to fight random boxers, with the exception of Logan fighting Mayweather, obviously. But they're not, they know where they stand. And then they sell their brand. They're doing very well. I see Jake lives in Puerto Rico, which gives you great tax breaks. Smart guys, very, very smart, and know how to maximize their brand.
Conor McGregor.
Also very smart, knows how to maximize his brand, but he's actually a bullshit artist. He's actually knows how to sell you a bullshit story and a bullshit scheme. I've never seen, because at least the Paul brothers understand that winning has to center around their whole brand. They may not be fighting the best competition, but at least not little Jake is not. But nonetheless, they understand that it has to revolve around winning. Conor McGregor somehow convinced the public that you can become a punching bag for all of combat sports and still become a fan favorite. And I don't know if that reflects more on society being okay with looking up to losers and themselves because of their own self-esteem issues, society's own self-esteem issues, or if that's just Conor being so good at marketing himself that despite being a loser, he's able to convince you that he's a winner in some way, shape, or form. I mean, this guy has won one fight since the Obama era. It's insanity. It's the Obama era. That's 2 presidents ago. And that one fight he fought, I mean, Cerrone didn't even show up. I mean, you can see psychologically he didn't even put up a fight. So his head was somewhere else that night, So it's pretty interesting, but nonetheless very fascinating from a psychological perspective of society. What to observe all this unfolding. And of course, he didn't score a knockdown, and he still has everybody convinced that he did. It's great. Not to mention, he got his ass whooped. And he found, that's a good one too, actually, before I let me go on that one. Yeah. He found a way to actually make people think he won the sparring session and scored a knockdown. That's insane. That's insane to me. But you know what? I actually have Frank Mir. I spoke to this about. He has, I think the guy that cleans up the UFC PI or something like that. Somebody was in the room because you weren't allowed in the room unless you were one of Conor's guys. And Frank Mir told me he knew somebody at the UFC PI that told him what happened. I mean, I was with Frank the next day. And he said I pretty much beat the shit out of him. I didn't think I beat the shit out of Conor, but I thought I got the better of the action. The reason I didn't beat the shit out of him is because, I'm out of shape. Otherwise, I would have beat the shit out of him. But I just didn't have the conditioning to full throttle beat the life out of him. But I did get the better of the sparring. And it's funny because Frank has somebody. I'm going to eventually get Frank on a Paulie TV episode and really break that down for everybody. That might make a lot of Conor groupies cry, but unfortunately, the truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah, listen, you got to go against the grain sometimes, and you got to go with the grain, like you said before. So may as well, man, get some views out of that.
And the truth, sometimes that's the thing about the truth. Sometimes it goes with the grain, sometimes it doesn't go against the grain. But it's always the truth. It needs no defense.
Got that right, bro. What about Joe Biden?
Joe Biden. sometimes I feel bad for Joe Biden. You know, I don't think that he's the guy calling the shots. Nor do I think Obama is. Some people think Obama's calling the shots. I think there is you know who calls the shots? To be honest with you, the bankers. The bankers call the shots. You know, the worldwide financial system, the people that own the Fed and all that. I'll leave it at that because otherwise I might get suicided. But that's who calls the shots. Because when you own the debt of somebody, you own them, and the banking system is set up so that each country's own monetary system is not made by them. Unfortunately, the Fed is not our thing. We borrow from the Fed. It is an outside entity. Nobody understands that. Nobody realizes that. No, they don't teach you that because they don't want you to know that. But
they don't want you to know that.
If I go any more in depth than that, I might get suicided, and I have no intentions of killing myself in this lifetime or the next. So I'm not going to go more than that.
See, and you heard it first right here. We're gonna keep that sound bite too, just in case. Nothing's gonna happen to my man Malignaggi. I call up all the Italians, bro.
It might still happen. It has happened to some people that said that anyway, but that's why I'm not going to continue to pursue the conversation. It's a losing conversation.
Listen,
you're not going to convince anybody anyway.
They ain't going to catch your Ferrari. It's all good, bro.
Yeah.
Paulie, thank you so much, man. Drive safe, my brother. Let's catch up when you get back. We'll get a cigar, some wine. I'm sure see you at an event.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, brother. Be well, man. I'll catch you later.
Catch you later.
Check me out on Paulie.tv on YouTube, ProBox TV on YouTube. And if you speak Spanish, I'm on ProBox TV Espanol in Spanish as well with Juan Manuel Marquez. And usually Claudia Trejos is our host. Check us out, man. It's good stuff.
Paulie, say it in Spanish too so they know.
Me puede mirar en ProBox TV en español en YouTube y también en inglés en ProBox TV en YouTube y también mi otro canal es Paulie.tv en YouTube.
Gracias.
In Italian, mi potete guardare su YouTube, sulle pagine ProBox TV Espagnol, ProBox TV, eppure c'è l'ultimo canale mio su YouTube, Paulie.tv.
Mamma mia, this guy's a man of many talents right here.
All right.
Thank you, my
Smartest
brother.
dropout you'll meet.
Hey, let's do it, bro. God
Later, guys.
Peace.
Be well.
My man Paulie Malignaggi speaks 3 languages. The guy, very talented.